Whenever a classic is remade, concerns often arise as to how well the developers treat the source material. My name's Zio, and today we're taking a look at Romancing SaGa 2, Revenge of the Seven. Before we begin, let me give a huge shout out to the illustrious folks at Square Enix for hooking us up with a review copy. So what is SaGa anyway? It's an RPG franchise from Square that started on the Game Boy in 1989. The first 3 games in the series were brought to North America under the name Final Fantasy Legend to capitalize on the success of Final Fantasy shortly after its US release. The SaGa series had another trilogy of games on 16-bit hardware called Romancing SaGa. You would think that future installments would roll out on the Super Nintendo, right? Well, not exactly. RPGs never really hit their stride outside Japan. That is until Final Fantasy VII came along. Releasing one of these games was seen as a huge gamble, since they generally cost more than other games which were cheaper and easier to localize, so companies had to cherry pick what got localized. Romancing SaGa 2 was released in December of 1993. This would go on to be the best-selling game in that trilogy, selling over 1.3 million copies. It got a remaster for iOS and Android in 2016, and then consoles and PC the following year. This one actually did get localized. Here we are now, in 2024. If I had a bingo card for games that were getting remade, this one would not be on there. The story centers around a group of 7 heroes who save the world by vanquishing hordes of monsters in ancient times. Things were pretty groovy for a while, and the people of the world came to forget about their saviors. Fiends start running amok again, but these so-called heroes are nowhere to be seen. You play as the leader of the Varan Empire, but you don't get to see the character you picked until much later on. The game starts with Emperor Leon and his son Prince Gerard clearing out a den of fiends near the capital of Avalon. Leon meets with a seer named Orive who teaches him inheritance magic and warns him about Kazinsi and the other 6 heroes. Leon and Gerard head for Somon to confront Kazinsi after he raided Avalon. Kazinsi uses the lifesteal technique on Leon and the group falls back to Avalon. Before dying, Leon passes on the knowledge of inheritance magic to Gerard, who takes up the task of avenging his father and brother by killing Kazinsi. Inheritance magic is one of the core mechanics of the game. Whenever you fall in battle or abdicate the throne, you'll be asked to pick a new emperor who inherits the weapon and magic skill levels from their predecessors. This also happens whenever you trigger a time skip by completing quests and expanding your empire. Any techniques or magic spells you might have acquired can be passed down to subsequent generations. Different classes also unlock new formations whenever they take the throne. These formations often give stat buffs to characters in different positions. You can also upgrade various facilities in Avalon, such as a blacksmith or an incantation lab, as you progress through the game. The non-linear gameplay is a hallmark of the SaGa franchise. The order in which you take down the other heroes is completely up to you, but you'll need to finish certain quests beforehand. If you do certain things before confronting a particular hero, you'll end up fighting their stronger form. Battles play out much like they do in other turn-based RPGs, but the flow of combat is a bit different here from the original. If you played Final Fantasy X or Octopath Traveler, you should feel right at home. The timeline at the top of the screen shows whose turn it is to make a move next. Exploiting your enemy's weaknesses to different weapon and magic types fills up a bar that lets you unleash powerful combination attacks once it's full. Challenging battles are also a hallmark of the franchise, but if you find the battles are too much, you can adjust the difficulty, making this one of the most accessible entries in the series. The graphics here may not be cutting-edge AAA, but they still look really nice. The layouts of the towns and dungeons were changed to accommodate for the change to 3D, and they did a really good job here. Even the music got a complete overhaul. There are a few remixes that even incorporate elements from other tracks, and you'll likely recognize these right off the bat if you've played the game before. While the remixes here are great, there were a few cases where I still preferred the originals. Thankfully, there's an option to play the original compositions from back in the day. While some people might find the 16-bit music in a 3D environment to be a bit jarring, the original compositions are still definitely worth a listen. From the moment you start the game, it's clear that a tremendous amount of love and care went into this project. The team at Zine did a fantastic job here. They took the utmost care in preserving the feel of the original while adding some new elements that don't detract from the overall experience. Now, this is how you remake a classic title. There are lots of games that would greatly benefit from this treatment, especially ones that never made it outside Japan back in the day. If this game does well enough, it might convince Square Enix to give the green light for Romancing SaGa 3 to receive the same treatment. They've been on a huge remaking and remastering kick these past several years. If you haven't played the original, or even if you have, I would highly recommend this. This is also perhaps the most accessible title in the SaGa franchise, which makes for an excellent introduction. You can pick this up on Switch, PlayStation, and Steam. Once again, huge shout out to the illustrious folks at Square Enix for the hookup, and an even bigger shout out to all of you. Without you, opportunities like this do not happen. We recently celebrated 5 years as a content creator here on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for the continued support. Have you tried this yet? If so, what do you think? You know how much I love chopping it up with you guys in the comment section and on the streams. I hope you have a blessed day. And remember, to thine own self be true. Until next time, farewell.